Okay, welcome to another episode of Slates and Koffee. We are your hosts. I'm Toy Mason. We have Nneka and Tequoia. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Today we are talking on the subject of the city girl trend. What is that? What is the city girl trend? In my opinion, what I've been seeing on social media, um, I believe it all started with Nicki Minaj. Lil Kim and all them took a little break, and then I believe Nicki with her sexuality brought it up, right? That's when you see the whole the surgeries and the BBLs. That was a shock to all of us in the culture of hip hop when we started seeing all those enhancements. Well, then when Nicki took a seat and took a break from the hip hop, then City Girls came up. City Girls consist of JT and I believe Young Miami. And they're two rambunctious young women who are not afraid to express themselves sexually. Now, what has that done to the community? To young women and older women. I mean, I've seen 50-year-old women who have reverted back to their 20-year-olds, and it's a hot girl summer. What is a hot girl summer? Well, it's wearing not that much clothes, and just acting out, acting free. It reminds me of the Loop days, Two Live Crew, when women was just out, half naked, not really caring. Well, now it's a way of the world now, and a lot of professionals and researchers and sociologists and are saying that this is becoming out of hand, because it's one thing of speaking your mind and being open sexually, but it has become a norm that is not acceptable. What do you guys think?
I think it's a policing of women's bodies. I believe that um, we've always policed women's bodies, even back when Josephine Baker was performing. Her outfits uh, were too explicit, too revealing, and there were always people who had something to say about that, but it was art. Now, I don't listen to the City Girls. I don't know who makes up City Girls. I was saying three when there were only two. So obviously, I have really no understanding of who these girls are. But I have heard the City Girl trend and Hot Girl Summer. And I have seen 50, 60-year-old women twerking and, just living their best life. And I'm not mad at them. I well, would I go down the street wearing a bikini top and a see-through bottom? No. But that's me personally, but I don't feel that I have the right to judge someone for expressing themselves however they choose to. And I think that sexuality is such a beautiful thing that if they want to wear their sexuality, that is for them to make that lifestyle decision. And I don't believe that it's my place to say that that woman is too old to be wearing booty shorts or that woman has too much cellulite to be wearing a crop top. I want everyone to be happy in an authentic way, and a way that makes themselves happy. And if it doesn't impede on me and my freedoms and my safety, hell with it. Enjoy it and have fun. Be you, hun. I'm happy for you. But I do recall seeing an interview that I think one of the members did, where the person asked, would you want your kid to hear your lyrics? And she said no, because I'm not raising my child in the same environment that I was raised in. And I think that is a bigger, more important conversation than the sexuality of lyrics or the clothing or the promiscuity. I think the origin of why these women are doing this, is it truly out of expressing feminist ideology, or is it because you were raised in an abusive household and you were taught these, you had early exposure to uh, indecency, and then that's why you are like this, and then you're trying to change it up in your next generation. So there's clearly something that that woman felt was missing in her childhood or wrong in her childhood, and that's why she's trying to correct it with her own child. But the outward perception that she's giving to the world is reflective of her disruptive childhood. So I think that's a deeper conversation that needs to be had.
I would say, me personally, I kind of like you were kind of saying to Koya, I mind my own business in the general sense. But as far as my opinion on this, I remember hearing the term hot girl summer some years back. I think it's Meg Thee Stallion, actually. I think it's one of her songs. I could be wrong, but I'm not really sure where it originated from. But I feel like with that whole trend, there's so many things at play here. Definitely part of it is, where do these people, like, their upbringing, right? That's part of it. I also feel like the other issue is what we define as, modesty, what is appropriate, as far as expressing sexuality, and also the entertainment business. I'm merely going off my own experience, what I've noticed and what I've seen, and fair enough, I am not that well versed in the music industry at all. Like you guys, I've heard of there being a group called City Girls. I don't really know their music like that, or what City Girl really, what that actually means necessarily, like, specifically.
Homegirl.
Homegirl.
Homegirl, hood girl.
Hood girl. Okay. Yeah. So like I have like a general idea of what that type of like look is supposed to be. I feel like it's worth pointing out, because there's a bit of a tussle on this idea of sexuality, that the entertainment industry really pushes sexuality on our entertainers, specifically in the music business, and specifically on Black women, especially if they're darker skinned. Because I'm 30, and in my 30 years, there's only so many dark-skinned Black women that I see on the scene who are non-sexualized, hypersexualized. In the pop scene, not necessarily being a rapper or even R&B. Not saying that they have to not be those in those genres, but you'll rarely see a mainstream famous Black female musician in those realms who are not like sexualized. Like, I'm thinking of Beyonce, Rihanna, City Girls, a lot of the rappers, and I'm not against these things being sung about. If people want to, like, dress certain ways on stage, I really don't have a problem with that. I have a problem when every time I look up and I see it, it's happening every single time. And I'll include the white girls in this too, and other just singers in general. Look at Ariana Grande, look at Dua Lipa. And to say that this is just how they feel like dressing, I'd believe it if there was more of a range of what we saw. The only time you see someone fully dressed is if they're like overweight, or not necessarily on the attractive end. We all love Adele, and it's no secret. Obviously, she was a bigger singer, and that was allowed for her because we liked her for her voice. For everyone else, it has to be some sort of package. You have to look good. We're going to dress you a certain way. And it's even to the point where you don't really have to have a vocal talent, at least not well enough to like fit the vocal talents of yesterday, who genuinely had a good voice. And that's kind of all you needed. So I think that's worth considering too. So yes, express yourself the way you want to, but you have to question, why is it that the only people who make it all have the same vein going on? A lot of younger people look up to these stars, whether they be actors or singers or whatever. And I don't like that, but it happens. And so if you're constantly showcasing these women, you don't even need to make it a trend. Subconsciously, they're seeing that they have this success. They see this certain level of success or relevancy, and thinking that there are aspects of that lifestyle that they need to emulate instead of genuinely getting there themselves. I think if we really just put people in the entertainment industry who are really good at their craft, we'll see a pretty wide range of different types of expressions of sexuality and modesty and whatever that is in between. And then the other aspect that I would bring up is self-respect. Not saying you need to be fully dressed to be self-respected, but at the same time, to have self-respect. But I think a lot of people, both in the entertainment industry and in real, like in our common world land of people who aren't famous or whatever in any way, or in high places, I see a lot of people turning to these forms of self-expression for the sake of someone else. Like, you know, people getting like BBLs or putting on certain types of makeup for the sake of the male gaze. And I mean, if that's what you're naturally into, go for it. But if you're doing this because you want more attention on the socials, or if you're doing it because you think people will see you as pretty or accept you more, you'll fit into this certain type of group, then I would say stop. Because first of all, you're spending too much money on something somewhat that you're trying to, you're spending so much money to impress someone else. That already seems weird to me. If you're trying to impress them, let them pay for it. You know, if this does not fulfill you personally, whether or not they accept you, that should be where your decisions come from. It shouldn't come from somewhere else. It shouldn't be external. It shouldn't be to fit some sort of validation from an external force, in my opinion. So that's what I mean more so by self-respect. Is this coming from you, or is this being driven from the outside factors, which, let's be real, is here today, gone tomorrow. So also be careful about the decisions you make. Is it just trendy, or is this you? If it's from you, that's you, and that's fine. Otherwise, that's what I would have a problem with. So that's
I'm so glad you brought up all the bullet points. So now the audience knows, look, you got A, you got B, you got C, you got D, and you probably got, the E, however you're feeling. I agree with you on the respect level. Now, I have a daughter, and I am raising her the way I was raised, right? Respectively. A lot of women are single. There's a lot of divorces happening right now, right? And a lot of people want a good man. They want a good husband. If you are whatever you are, you're going to attract that. So it's fine. You can express yourself. You can walk outside with booty shorts on, with a bra, however you want to express your sexuality, that's fine. But if you want to get married, if you're tired of being lonely, if you're trying to watch a Netflix with red wine and popcorn, and you're ready to get married at 50 years old, 60 years old, however you present yourself is what you're going to get, and is what you're not going to get. I know when you cross over to the marriage threshold, all that stops. Unless you got a man that doesn't really care about you expressing yourself with a halter top or little bra on. But do you want a man like that? Are you okay with your man sharing you with the whole world? I wasn't raised like that. And it does have a lot to do with self-respect. Do you respect yourself looking like a hoe? And on that note, I feel like Whoopi right now. On that note, we got T. Marie. We're going to get her coming in here. Tequoia, you going to say your...
Hi.
How you doing? You look beautiful today, this evening.
Listen, I can't see nothing without these glasses, okay? This is looking what it needs to look like, because I'm like, God, it'll just be a glow or glare or something. I don't know.
Well, welcome to Slates and Koffee. We are so honored to have you.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
So, T. Marie, you are a podcast of your own, a reality show producer. Yes. Today's topic is the city girl trend, and we were getting into the thick of it, and I want Tequoia to pick it up and say your spew. Tequoia, say your spew, then T gonna jump right in there.
Well, you were saying that if you want to get married and have a lasting, loving relationships, then you can't present yourself in a certain sexualized manner. And
no, I didn't say that.
Okay, I'm sorry.
You can look any way you want to in the privacy of your own home, on your vacation. You can be any man, anything your man wants you to be. You can be Jezebel, the stripper with the red rope around your neck. You can do what everyone's on vacation. You can dress, that's your man, right? And we know men, they like variety. So you can be Barbara on Monday, Sandy on Tuesday, Samantha on Wednesday. You can be stripper, the queen on Friday and Saturday, Sunday, do whatever you want to do. But I feel like in the public sector, to respect yourself, a good man wants a woman to respect themselves in public, and you can be whatever you want to behind closed doors.
Well, I mean, okay, so that's going under the assumption that out in the public, you have to be Claire Huxtable. You have to be a certain type of, I guess, quote unquote, respectable image. But we all know people who fit that mold that have gone on to marry and have had horrible marriages and divorce. And I'm looking at like Ice-T and Coco has been out there since, the 90s. And I've seen all of her body parts on just about every form of media. And they have been married for at least 17 years.
Well, if you want to ask him as a husband, then go ahead and marry.
But I'm just saying, nobody knows a marriage on the inside from the outside. So we don't know what goes on behind closed doors. We don't know whether, a Huxtable looking couple has a great marriage versus Ice-T and Coco in their marriage. So we're just seeing it as spectators from the outside. What I see are two loving people who respect each other. And I don't think that the way that she presents in the world has any diminishing on the amount of love and respect that he has for his wife. So I think that, it's about finding the person that fits you. If y'all speak the same language and share the same energy, then however you present to the world, whether you rocking a bikini up and down the strip in public, will make any change on how that relationship is behind closed doors.
But that's why I say whoever you are, you're going to attract that man. Another example is Tiny and T.I. She wears what she wants to wear, right? And I love Tiny. Shout out to Tiny. I love her. And no disrespect to that marriage, but we've heard the reports on what they do in the basement and the threesomes and the parties. So whoever you are, you're going to attract that good man, but that good man also loves that lifestyle. And if you down with that lifestyle, then that's just what it is, right?
Could we also, so sorry. Because we keep throwing around the word good man, but I think that also needs to be defined, because there's a lot of seemingly good men, but what is good? If, like Tequoia was saying, you don't really know what it's like on the inside. And they say, is good man just denoting that he has a job and he seems presentable? And yeah, that seems good, but who is he as a person? Because there are people who don't have as much money, who don't seem as presentable, but they're going to make you happy. I think that's the real goal, instead of just being in a marriage, unless you're in a marriage for that type of security, in which case that's a different situation. But if we're just talking about like a genuine connection and a husband who knows you and loves you for who you are, then that's going to, more like to what Tequoia was saying, you're going to search that out specifically, and no matter who you are, you're going to find that person. Like you were saying, you're going to match and find who you're looking for.
T. Marie?
Yeah, good. So at the end of the day, good is relative, okay? Good is definitely relative. It depends on who you are as a woman and what you need. Now, to generalize good, and when we say good man, usually we're talking about somebody who treats us the way we want to be treated, who protects us the way we need to be, who provides for us, and make sure that we're good, that we have a connector and we have a life partner that we can trust, right? But that's all relative, because we also have to understand that it's also the compatibility of the two of us. So what we do matters. Our character matters. Our hobbies and habits matter. The way we view the outside world matters. The way we view religion matters. The way we view raising children matter. The way we party and kick it. All of that matters. So when it comes to having a mate, you guys were talking about earlier, Coco dressing the way she dresses. Well, Ice-T already knew that. So there was class or anything when they got together. He's cool with it. That's who she was when he met her. He accepted her for that. And that's why the relationship works, because he knew who she was, she knew who he was, and they were good with that. Yeah. What happens is we get together with people and we don't expose our true selves. We don't say who we are. And so we get with this person hoping that our true self is enough without consulting that person about what they really need, what they're looking for. So now you get in, you got a man who's highly sexually driven, and you got this woman who's sex drive. She can or cannot, she can do without. And that clashes because they didn't have that discussion about what their expectation was when it came to that thing. So what happens is we don't have the grown-up conversations that we're supposed to have prior to doing relationships. And unfortunately, if we don't, we'll jump in these relationships without that information and hope that one person will adjust to the other. And most of the times that doesn't happen, but all of our needs are necessary, and nobody's needs are wrong. It's wrong for a particular type.
Right. Now, the subject today that we're talking about is the city trend on the hypersexuality of today's woman. And I don't even know to say today's woman, because that's what they put on us back in the early 1900s. And it really wasn't who we were. It's just who the white man wanted to portray us, although they created that in us. We didn't know any better. We was just maids and, nannies, and you would come and rape me, and because you like my black body, and it was different from what you were used to, but you wanted to portray that of me so it would make you feel less than guilty on what was going on. Well, we carried that on early in film. And they created that as the Jezebel role. Well, now we have taken on the Jezebel role, and, we're owning it. The city girls are owning it. And Young Miami said, that's who I was. That's who I had to be growing up. My mama was selling dope. I had to, have sex with different men to pay our bills and to eat and to put the lights on. But no, I do not want my daughter to be raised like that, because I want her to be respectable. So they said, so you're okay with showing this to others? And she said, well, I'm okay with them being open to who they are. So record labels and production companies are using that to monetize off the Black woman, because we don't see that much in white women. You got a couple of them.
Yeah, we don't even see their music, okay? But we have to start with what our music sounds like. If you listen to our stations versus pop and other stations, our stations are always talking about music as sex and more sex. If you listen to those other stations, they talk a lot about love and relationships and family. So we're already behind the 8 ball because we feel like we have to fall in line for 2 reasons. Because that's what's going to make us money, and that's the only thing that they're playing. So even if that's not who they are, they do become that to get the money, to get the fame, to get the notoriety. And then on the other part, like you said, they've never been taught to be anything different. So that transition continues to be, perpetuated by not just us, but our men as well. And then our men want something different, but yet when it comes to the studio, when it comes to the music, when it comes to the radio, they'll sell that, but then expect women to be different. At the end of the day, men are the driving forces when it comes to the industry. You understand what I'm saying? So it's kind of contradictory that they would drive and sell this on one end, but expect something else on another. And so our younger girl, especially the young women, are falling into the trap of this is the only thing that they can do. This is the only thing they can be to be successful. And we're not giving them any other outlets. So they continue to do that. I have a daughter that's 24. I have a daughter that's 14. If you could understand the struggle of having them understand what the lyrics mean versus what that beat sounds like, it's crazy.
Right.
I have to listen to the lyrics again. Listen to what that says. Mm-hmm. Now, once you hear that, what does that make you feel like? Mm-hmm. 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 And these girls are just like, all their feelings are taken. They don't even get to feel because they have become the primary breadwinner now. Like you said, they're the ones who's making the money. So this sex is what's selling. So they have to continue to sell this sex in order to get what they need to get. And we talk about what Suki, is that the artist name? Who's talking about her booty hole brown, excuse my stuff, that's talking all that. But then she has a full family. She has a husband or boyfriend and kids. So she doesn't present that necessary image around. So imagine the conflicts of your mind when you have to do it one way, but live it a different way.
I think you made a really good point, though. Yeah. These lyrics, both for the female and for the men, are written by men. Okay. And the music industry and the film industry, they are protecting that image. And correct. That's where they're giving more money to these artists and actors that are willing to do these roles and embody these characters, because they're like, this is what we want, and we're gonna pay you big dollar to give it to us. And because we come from a background where we're struggling to pay bills, we're gonna be like, I'll do that, I'll get that money. And then that's pumping into the community, into the younger generation, and they're thinking that this is genuinely how these people are, but it's a role that they're playing for money.
Right.
There's actually, gosh, what was this called? Oh no, yeah. So there's this, I don't know if it's actually called this in like the music scene. I just remember hearing this somewhat growing up. There's something they call suburban rap, which is when you have these rap songs that are typically mainstream. Some of it could be more underground, but rap music in general, but sung in suburban neighborhoods, which typically will be predominantly white, right? But it's called suburban rap because for them, they get to sing it and have fun and have that experience. But then once the song is over, they go back to that different type of lifestyle. Whereas, like you were saying, Tequoia, other people, notably, for the most part, people in Black neighborhoods will assume that this is the lifestyle, this is the culture that they want to achieve, versus it just being a form of entertainment. So I just thought that was interesting, that like duality where some people compartmentalize these lyrics that they're hearing versus deciding it has to be, which, I mean, again, like I said earlier, to each their own if that's truly what they want, but it shouldn't be something they receive and feel like because they're seeing it on screen, this is something they have to achieve or have to emulate.
I think T. Marie made a good point, is that these artists or these actresses, same thing, artists are living two lives. They are going to work, 9 to 5, 10 hours a day, however long it is, and they're being paid to be somebody, right? But when they go home, I know one of the girls in City Girl, JT, she's a homebody. She wears a bonnet at home and biking shorts and tank top, and does not like to go out to clubs. If she has to, she will, but she loves being at home, taking care of her kids, being a homemaker. But so do we blame us as the artists for taking the check and portraying these characters when they don't have to? Because now we've seen a whole wave. Mind you, if you guys haven't noticed, we don't see any condom commercials. They don't promote that AIDS is still an epidemic. So we are creating a whole promiscuous generation. I don't even know, we on Gen Z right now. So a whole promiscuous generation that are out there having sex. We can't get abortions. So now you're going to flood the urban areas now with babies. So now you're going to depend another wave, another 80s babies of welfare of what Reagan created. So it seems like a whole trap. It's a whole created agenda trap.
It's going back to they clone Tyrone.
No spoilers,
but that film addresses everything that you just said.
Yeah.
Everything.
I haven't seen it, so I'm gonna go watch it when we get done.
Yeah.
Yes.
Clearly I have to watch it soon because too many people are talking. Oh man.
Yeah.
I just think it's unfortunate because even though these artists are living double lives, they're not coming on any interview and saying, yo, look, this is just an act. We're living these double lives. Meanwhile, our daughters, nieces, and everybody else is thinking that this is real. So they're going out and acting it, coming who they see, not understanding the background of what these artists are actually doing. And that's the unfortunate part and the poisonous part when it comes to social media and all of that stuff, is because nobody comes on after the fact and gives the interview about, y'all know I'm doing this to make money, right? Like, y'all know y'all need to really just be at home and get you a man and get you or do whatever and relax, right? This is just something that I'm doing because we're in the entertainment world. And now our children are out there emulating it because they think it's real. Same way they do on reality shows and anything else. And that's the unfortunate part about them pretending in one end and then coming out and doing showmanship on the other.
And I also have to stress, I know I probably said this before, but like there's not enough conversation about how people, young and old, have to have their own, have to have agency upon their own opinion, have their own thought, because part of the entertainment industry is building on celebrity culture and that idol worship and that wanting to be a part of what happens on the other side of things, when really, if really practically speaking, you need to be looking at your circle, because for the most part, I'm not saying people can't have social mobility, but for the most part, we're going to exist in the circle that we're in. And I think people need to look at the practicality of their environment and do what's best for them in that realm. Yeah, and just not so much compare to things that you've never like experienced for yourself. Sorry, my alarm went off. Like experience firsthand, and only ever see like in a distance. And then you have people trying to live some quasi form of it, trying to do like some, I guess Kroger version, like watered down version, trying to have the. I'm losing my words now, but I think you guys know what I'm talking about. Having some semblance of it just to seem like you're in that type of circle, and it's kind of sad because I would rather people just have their really dial into what they are naturally into, what they naturally like and think is beautiful, versus putting things on pedestals that you just don't know in like personally for yourself. I think that's a dangerous basket to invest in.
I think a lot of times when you have an atypical Black person that comes up and does something like a Donald Glover or even Childish Gambino, that type of music and his type of craftsmanship with his shows. I don't know how many Black people that I've spoke to that don't get it. They call it weird.
Yeah.
And they just, it's outside of what we've been told is acceptable for the Black community. So I think that if we were to start embracing and supporting more independent projects, independent thought, then we would be able to change the narrative within the community. Because right now we're following the mainstream, what the mainstream is saying is acceptable and appropriate for the Black community, and that's trap music and the trap house and the city girl trend and everything like that. That's what they're saying. Oh, this is what you need to focus on. This is how you're supposed to look. And we're falling victim to that. We're believing that and embodying that in the community. And then when we do have independent thinkers to come out and try to show us a different way, we're like, oh no, we're not going to support that.
Yeah, like foreign at times to people.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, like you said before, like you stated earlier, it's going to start in your own bubble, in your own community, in your own environment, right? It starts. That's where you start to shape the kids. Your child, my child. We have to create our own community, and in that community, we understand what's actually going on. If we're not fed through our own circle, then we'll start to believe what's outside that circle. So your bubble, your circle, is what sets the standard of how you really think. So no matter what you see on the outside, you understand what that is versus what you've been taught and understand what's really going on. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to begin with your circle creating a standard that has nothing to do with what you're going to see on the outside. It's kind of like what the Bible says: don't of the world, even though you're in the world. You don't have to be like that just because you see that. So when you create your own standards in your own circle, no matter what you see, that just becomes a just entertainment. You know that it is what it is. It entertains you for the moment, and then you're. But when it comes to your real life, you're doing what standards you have set for yourself, and then that stops from the influence from coming from anybody else outside of you because you created that standard before you even started participating in anything on the outside.
That is very true. And I think it all goes back to community because
yeah.
I know a couple of teachers out of the DeKalb County, and the students, they come from these homes that the parents are like late 20s, 30s. So, and they grew up in the trap. So they're creating this household of just what the trend is. So the student goes to school and they don't really know any better. And then you call the parent is like, what you calling me for? So, but if we have these leaders in the community that are surrounding these kids, we can go back to those days where it's a village and we can help push these kids, mentor these kids, and mold these kids because they are not getting it. So they are going to be subjective to what they see on the internet. And that's, if they see it at home, they think, okay, well, this is what it is. This is acceptable. But if you have those mentors to let me give you a different perspective. It's okay to like that. You can like that, but look at this other side of things. Let me give you some options. And who are you really? Like let's dive deep inside of you, because this may not even be you, but this is fun to you. And then you see everybody else doing it, so you want to be acceptable to them. But so it's a whole agenda that we have to break if we want to mold and shape this community coming up.
I know the schools already have enough responsibility on their plates, but I still believe that there's some type of mentorship that we need to create as a class, as a course. You know what I'm saying? We got our math and English and all that stuff, but there needs to be some type of culture or some type of mentorship that we create that kids have to go to as a credit, right? To see some other sides of things. Courses evolve based on what's going on. So we can add that as a curriculum or add that as an elective where the kids have an opportunity to see something different. And again, I know the schools have a lot going on, but I think that if we could create that, especially in our urban schools, but everywhere, that we could actually help some of these kids see something different, because if they don't see it anywhere other than, if they got their home and their environment, they're not going to see it in school because they just want the academic curriculum, then it's still missing an opportunity to be able to pour into them in a different way that could actually help them see that there is another way of doing life.
And I'm glad you mentioned that, T, because I've created Slate's Youth Film Academy, where we just got out of a camp this summer mentoring and molding kids. And we are, I'm not going to say trying, but we are in the process of building it international, because our kids are our future. And what we see now, it can be very detrimental on what's about to happen in the next 10 to 15 years. So I think our job, as I love going back to different world days, is doing the Sankofa and bringing them back. Go back and get them and bring them up.
And believe it or not, they want to come. These kids want some direction. They want some love. They want some compassion. They want something different. What they're seeing is hard for them. It's not their natural nature and their natural way of moving. They want to be able to embrace something different. There's just nothing for them to embrace in their environment.
That's it. We need to step up as a community and do what you do. If it doesn't have to be, in the community, it can be in your own family. You see a troubled teen, talk to them. Do something that someone didn't do to you. Right. Bring them up. And that adds into the world. It's the littlest things that can add to change the world.
Absolutely.
Anyone have any last words?
I think we've hit on a lot of important parts that I think the general tone is that it starts with an individual level and then community. We have to make the decision for ourselves that we aren't going to allow other people to dictate how we operate in the world. We're going to decide for ourselves to live authentically and make our own way in the world without influences from all these nefarious places. And then one by one try to introduce that to other people that we encounter in our circles. So
absolutely. It's all planting seeds. Dropping seeds in everyone's life. And like you said, Tequoia, it's whomever you want to be. Be that, rock it, wear a t-shirt, a hoodie, whatever you want to do. And then help that next person build something in them that try to get whatever they're trying to get out of. You know, we don't know what that is or what direction or what journey they may go down. And there's no judgment to whatever you choose. Whatever you choose is your authenticity. I remember when Cardi B first came out, a lot of people was like clutching their pearls. But to me, I feel like she's the most genius person I've probably ever seen on television. Because that's who she is. She wears her heart in her sleeve and she'll tell you, this is who I am. I love you, but I love me more.
Correct. Just being able to be okay with who you are regardless is what's going to be your first step. And we got to help these girls and young women understand that who they are is enough.
Yes.
And once they get that, then they'll be able to walk and introduce themselves with confidence and walk in their own journey with confidence and introduce themselves so that gives the next person confidence. Right. And to any adult, and want to go back and talk about community, to any adult, if somebody asks you to speak to their child, speak to their child.
Yeah.
That's because they need another voice. They need family. They need somebody. Sometimes we're so busy doing whatever we're doing, and rightfully so. But in order to get this sense of community, when somebody's like, hey, could you talk to my daughter? Could you talk to my son? Stop and do that. 2 reasons. One is because they actually see something in you that can influence their child or help their child. And 2, they see you as somebody that their child is going to listen to. And in this world, that's important because they're not listening to everybody. There's a level of respect that you have to have, or have for you, or something they have to have for you in order for you to be able to speak to them. So when somebody says, can you come speak or spend time with my child? Please, please do that. That is planting a seed that you just will not understand. It's such a big difference. It makes a big deal. Right. It's really.
Yeah. That's actually when I was talking about looking to your circle, that's the exact point I was trying to make. I was losing my words because I feel like they're trying to find a mentor, but instead of reaching for things that they have access to and can see in full, the nuances and all that in between, they're reaching for things that it'd be hard to have something as a mentor that you don't have access to and that you can't see in full, and that's dangerous. I would rather you have like an aunt of someone in your neighborhood, preferably someone older than you, because they have more experience. But I completely support that. I think that makes a major difference. Having that community, the support system, the mentor to give you some sort of guidance along the way.
Yeah. And don't look for a perfect mentor. It can be the uncle that just did 10 years and got out, but he can tell you what not to do. He can tell you what road to take. He will help you because he did not have that. So listen to those people with experience that gain the wisdom, that wish they had them, that can talk to them when they were your age. So I would tell all that, those people, the young ones that's listening, listen to your elders. Even if they don't look perfect, they know.
They do.
Yeah.
And it's important that we present ourselves to them as not their enemy, and not their friend, because we don't want to get into that zone, but somebody that hears them. We're not your enemy. And yes, we are adults and we do have some, some lessons that we can teach you. But be a person that they can actually talk to, because they're getting to the point where they feel like we're talking at them and not to them, and then we're not listening to them. Go back, listen, adults. Go back, remember, it may not be as bad as what you used to do, and how you got that. I'd be like, yeah, you need to put your finger up and walk and be like, you know what? You have some grace. Let me do a little grace here, because I remember as bad, but being the person that couldn't hear, or sneaking out to hear music or whatever. But we have been a child, we've been teenagers, and we've done some things, and so you could go back and recall, like, let me just kind of understand where this child is coming.
Shout out to all the mamas in 95 at Freaknik in Atlanta, Georgia around that time.
Summer. Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Traveling in cars from North Carolina and South Carolina and Louisiana. Just
it was something to see. Do you understand me? I didn't have to worry about the documentary, though. I didn't have my legs busted open. I wasn't on the camera. None of that, so I'm good. I wasn't worried about when it came.
I remember Evelyn, the Braxton's mom, she says, spread them low, lay them wide, or lay them wide and spread them low. I was like, was that having sex?
Baby, those elders come with the wisdom. You be sitting there like, what are you talking about, ma'am? I'm sorry. What? I'm confused.
Oh,
but yeah.
Well, this has been a treat
for our kids.
T. Marie, we enjoyed you.
Thank you.
This was another one in the can. We only hope and pray that it reaches the masses, because there's subjects like this that need to be talked about, that bring up awareness. And that's what we are about, to nourish, educate, and empower women, power young women, and we're all women of color that are watching. T, are there any projects or what do you have going on you would like to let us know?
Well, I do have a podcast that will be starting in early fall, early September, and it's called The Reset. This reset talks about dating after life has been lifing. Okay, after you've had 26 relationships and you think you still can't have it, or you've been financial trauma, or whatever you've gone through, the breakups, or I lost a fiance. So whatever life has done for you or to you, what you feel like, if there's still life after those things. And so the reset talks about doing life after life has been lifing. So I don't know if you all know, I'm a dating coach. I teach people how to date. My curriculum is called Date Great. So I teach you how to date to get the results.
I'm gonna have to hit you up.
You can just go on KatrinaMarie.net, and you can actually sign up. My consultations right now are free up until September, because cuffing season is coming up.
It's coming.
It's coming up. So it's time to get that boo and get it right. So next week, by Valentine's Day, you'll be getting a little ring or something.
Right.
But so I do have that, and then I'll go back to middays on Hot 923, where I am the midday personality from 10 to 2. It's middays with T. Marie. That starts again in August the 14th. So if you go on my website and on my social media, you can check it out. And before I forget, I do have a wine line called Tasty Wines, TASTETEE Wines. You can check. I have 3 flavors. So I have started off with the Moscato. That was my baby. The next was Merlot blend, which is the red. It's phenomenal. And then we have a Pinot blush. So you will, the wines are amazing. You guys got to get some. It's really
wow.
Really
well, yeah. we are so honored to have you. Thank you so much, ladies. You hear what she has going on. She got the wine, she got dating coach, she got Netflix and chill, she got all that. She got everything you need, guys. Okay, so yes. Well, thank you so much. We enjoyed you. Until next time. That was an amazing topic. I'm so excited and grateful that we can put all of our opinions in a bowl for different perspectives that's out there to reach the masses of different viewers. Everyone has their own opinion on different things. We hope that those that watch, that you've chosen on what you decided on, but we're all here just to nourish, educate, feed you, and empower you and to lift you up. Until next time, we are thankful for you. Bye-bye.